So shall we start the program, sir? The students will join later, sir. So today our principal is on leave. She was present yesterday, but she is on leave today. Okay, sir. Shobha?
Okay, shall we start?
Okay.
Okay. A very good evening to all of you gathered here. Myself, Dr. Shobha, Assistant Professor of Mathematics and Social Media Coordinator of IIC, Sri Ayyappa College for Women. It gives me immense pleasure to extend to you a very warm welcome on behalf of Institution's Innovation Council, IIC of Sri Ayyappa College for Women, who has clerked all of us for the second day of the SDP on the topic Nurturing the Habit of Entrepreneurship Among Arts and Science College Students. Entrepreneurship allows students to learn more than just their chosen field of study, and it creates an interdisciplinary environment to work and develop in. The purpose of this program is to identify the opportunities that should be wanted by college students who intend to create a new business. Now I welcome our Honorable Chief Guest, Dr. Arun Surendran, Strategic Director and Principal, Trinity College of Engineering, Thiruvananthapuram, respected Principal, Dr. K.V. Jayashree, IAC President, Dr. Smitha Nair, and all IAC family members, faculties, my dear students of this college and other colleges. Welcome in chat. Everyone is important and valuable. With this thought, I would like to invite Dr. J. Prasanna Kumari, Assistant Professor and HOD of Economics and Area Coordinator of IIC for the formal welcome address. Ma'am, please.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome and thank you for joining us on the second day of Student Development Program organized by the IIC team of Sri Ayyappa College for Women. Entrepreneurship is living a few years of our life like most of the people own, so that you can spend the rest of your life like most people can't. First of all, I would like to welcome our principal, Dr. K.V. Jayashree, who guides in all our academic activities. On behalf of our IIC team, I welcome you, Madam. Next, I would like to welcome our chief guest, Dr. Arun Surendran, Strategic Director and Principal, Trinity College of Engineering, Thiruvananthapuram, where he pioneered faculty development and entrepreneurship. He holds his master's and PhD in aerospace engineering from the Texas A&M University after his BTech from IIT Bombay. He was awarded the prestigious EPIRITE Outstanding International Student Award, the highest honor given by the Texas A&M University. He is the honorary fellow for robotics for the Kerala Startup Mission. He is one of the founder director of Cyber Security Solutions. He has been a guest faculty in Kerala Civil Service Academy and the Indian Institute of Space Science and Technology. He is one of the South India chairs of Young Indians Trivandrum, the subsidiary of Confederation of Indian Industries. Dr. Arun is associated with the Rotary School of Children with Special Needs and the Coin a Day Child Care Foundation. He has authored 2 books, The Stock Habit and The 7 C's Entrepreneurship. Dr. Arun has also produced the documentary fragment of Illusion and the Chautu Nadagam dance form. In 2017, he was chosen to deliver the Vikram Sarabhai Memorial Space Lecture. We are very proud to have you here, sir. On behalf of our IIC team, I welcome you, sir. Next, I would like to welcome our IIC President, Dr. Smitha Nair, and all the other faculty members of IIC, and also the student participants of our college and other colleges. Once again, I welcome you all. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you very much for your cordial welcome speech and introducing the chief guest. The entrepreneur always searches for change, responds to it, and exploits it as an opportunity. Now I humbly request our chief guest, Dr. Arun Surendran, Principal, Trinity College of Engineering, for share his ideas on the topic Industry 4.0. Be ready for the opportunities with us. Sir, please.
Thank you very much for a very warm welcome on this evening. I hope everybody has had your tea and hopefully are not feeling very sleepy because this is towards the evening end of the workday. So I would like very much to keep interactive sessions, but then there are around 58 in the call, so that may not be possible. If at any point you need clarification on anything that I'm saying, kindly do use the chat window. We'll have that followed, any questions that may come up. I had jumped at this opportunity to talk to the students on behalf of the IIC of Ayyappa College for Women. When Manoj sir, I think he was a speaker yesterday, and then later on Dr. Smitha also contacted me about this. This is because, as some of you might have noticed in the rather prolonged introduction of me that was read, thankfully, to Dr. Prasanna Kumari, there was the word called faculty entrepreneurship. That was really how we made a difference in Trinity. And now coming and talking to a College of Women is because I have identified yet another problem that we face in the society which can be solved in one particular direction. So let me just clarify on what faculty entrepreneurship means and how I got into it. When I came back to India in 2011 and in 2012, I started working with Trinity College of Engineering. One of the basic things that I found, other than what I had seen back in IIT Bombay in the late 90s and then at Texas A&M, is that there was a difference between the last link, okay? So I'll be happy if at least a couple of you keep your cameras on, because otherwise I'm just talking to a laptop machine, and that's really not helpful in terms of feedback. So I'll appreciate whoever has bandwidth if you can keep it on, so that I know that there are real people at the other end. Please feel free to go and come back in case you need something urgent. Otherwise, it's fine. So here is the basic deal about faculty entrepreneurship. We saw, and Dr. KCC Nair, who will be speaker tomorrow, he'll be able to tell you what he experienced when he started entrepreneurship in Kerala in 2006, 2007, after being inspired by Dr. Abdul Kalam. Now, in 2020, Kerala Startup Mission is regarded as one of the best incubators in the world. And they have around 2,000 startups currently being incubated, and daily new startups are being added. But this was not an easy journey. In 2007, what would happen to KCC Nair, and which I could experience firsthand in 2012, because in 5 years, he was trying to move a mountain. So it's very difficult to move it, but he was trying. So this is what would happen. People like me, people like KCC Nair, people like Dr. Manoj, we go to different colleges, we talk to students, groups of students, hundreds of students, and we tell them why it is important to have an entrepreneurial mindset, why they should think about starting up, why it is important to run a business and how that is the wealth creation which can serve the country, why you should try to be a job creator instead of a job seeker if you have undergone higher education in India. And then we give all these speeches, we motivate, and the students feel upbeat and they're all inspired. And then we go home, they come back to the college, we are no longer there, only the faculty is there. And then from the faculty, they get to hear things like, don't waste your time trying to think of businesses. This is a high risk job. Why don't you take a safe job? Try to graduate first, become first in your class, get your certificate in order, and then apply for the job, government job, PSC job, UPSC job, and so on. So there was a last link failure. And I'm talking particularly about where no matter how much we try to motivate the students, next day, and on occasion, exactly on the stage within 5 minutes, the principal of the college said, these guys will come and tell you all these things like this, but the Infosys interview is tomorrow. All of you who is interested in having a settled life and safe career, please opt for Infosys interview tomorrow. So we found that there was a last link failure, because the students will trust the faculty who comes to class every day much more than somebody who shows up once in a year or once in 6 months and tries to motivate them. So at Trinity College, I decided I will play the game differently. I want to inspire, motivate my faculty to start companies. Let them run businesses and let these students see it. Let the students see firsthand. Otherwise, they're always talking about Mark Zuckerberg, Bill Gates, Steve Jobs, Ratan Tata, Anil Ambani. What's the point? They should talk about Jimmy Bentex, Vipin Goban, Rakesh, Vijish, who are all our faculty members who have companies, Vivek Stanley. Then they'll be very realistic about it, that this can be done and this is happening in front of their eyes. And they will see the difficulties. They will see how paying of salaries is a very gratifying job, but at the same time, there are troubles associated with it. And how winning a contract takes time, how you need to deliver at full quality, how to find a good client and then keep the good client, how to keep on improving your expertise and so on. So that's where we made a big difference at Trinity, because our students are grounded. They understand that this is not something that happens in America. They are talking about in Trivandrum, how can we do this? On campus, how can we do this? How can I start when I am 21, 22? And then how can I grow it till I am 42 and then run a very successful business later on in my life without worrying and how to convince my parents that I'm not throwing away my degree, I'm not opting for a secretariat job, why I'm not going for pursuing some kind of a government test and so on. So that difference is what happened in faculty entrepreneurship. And the reason why I'm here, why I really jumped at this opportunity and why I think I'm doing something very significant talking to 50 or 60 of you today is because we have a crisis in India. The crisis is this: higher education in India, 72 to 80% is women. Look at any college. It's girls, it's women who come to study. And then in the employment, when you look at employment, in Kerala, it is an abysmal 32%. Where do the others disappear? What happens to those highly educated women who are gone? They are no longer in the workplace. They get married, they settled in life, and the only use of the degree that they do is to teach their children or maybe run a small tuition center. And obviously, there are companies like QMath, which obviously the maths department people might know. They kind of utilize, try to bring back these women into the circuit. And I have a very close friend of mine, Chandravadana, she runs something called Prayana Labs. They have something called C2C now, that is bringing women back to career. And their target is to have at least 200 to 1,000 women entrepreneurs by the end of the year. So they have mentors all over India, and that's what's happening. So I think this talk is crucial because I'm here to tell you about Industry 4.0. So please don't look at it as a formal lecture that you came and attended and took away nothing. That would be an utter failure for me, utter failure for the program. So we are talking about you and me. We are not talking about Industry 4.0, which is something that happens in Germany and something we can write down an essay or a feedback form tomorrow. We are talking about life, how you are going to lead your life for the next 10, 20, 30, 40 years. So here is another thing. Then this I heard from the NBA accreditation chairman, and he mentioned this in one of the meetings that he came. He said, look, I went to Stanford University, and there, one of the things that the faculty and the leadership of Stanford pointed out was that why are Indians so obsessed with campus placement? Why are colleges always putting out all these statistics about 90% of our students placed, 95% of our students placed? He said, at Stanford, we are concerned about where our students are 20 years from now. 20 years after they leave the college, where are they in society? Are they in leadership positions? Are they creating wealth? Are they providing jobs? If they are doing it, then the Stanford education made sense. Then we were successful as faculty members because we created change creators. But here we are obsessed with, can I put 200 people in this shop and that shop and they got some job and therefore my job is done. So that mindset is what we need to change. Because I'll just openly post this question, and anybody who knows the answer, kindly write it in the chat window. Industrial Revolution, obviously, I think history students are there. So Industrial Revolution, they might be familiar with. Industrial Revolution, I think everybody should be familiar with because we learn about it in school. We are talking about Industrial Revolution 4.0. So any idea what happened in 1, 2, and 3? Which were the 3 industrial revolutions that we have ended up in the 4th industrial revolution? Any idea? I'd be happy to, if you can just turn on your mic and talk to me, that would be great. Otherwise, please put it in the chat window. What happened in the 1st, 2nd, and 3rd industrial revolution? Because this is supposed to be an extension. Otherwise, they wouldn't call it the 4th industrial revolution. And I'll also ask a tricky question. Who decides all these things? Who says, now we are in Industry 4.0. Can I come and say, no, we are in 5, 6, 7, a number that I please? Who fixes? Who said we are now in 4.0? That all of us are discussing. Any day you take Hindu newspaper, you'll read, Industry 4.0, IR 4.0 is happening. So what happened in 1, 2, and 3? Any idea? One really affected India. One was the cause of ruin for India because we were running behind it. One is what triggered British domination around the world because it happened there. Any idea why we call it or what was happening in Industrial Revolution? 1. The first one. Yes? No? Anybody? History? Please don't search Google now. I'll tell you, because that would be like a waste of time. So, okay. So industrial revolutions happen or we are going back and defining things as industrial revolution based on major changes in our power consumption or energy consumption. So what was the main source of energy? What did we depend on for getting the most work done? Industrious work. So industry 1 is when steam engine rocked. Steam engine had come into being, steam power, coal-powered steam engines were running. It was happening in Manchester with all the rooms and all the looms, and textile industry was booming, and that's pretty much how Britain got the upper hand. And at that time, we had a new form of transportation. The railways had come in at that time. Huge lanes were being laid. So energy was from steam, transportation was from railways, and we also had this telegraph as the communication means. So communication, energy, and transportation. You can look at these three major areas that end up defining industrial revolutions. So what was the source of energy in industry 2.0? So first was steam. So can you think of what would have been it in 1900s? From steam, we changed into something else, and we still use it. So that's fairly easy, pretty easy how the energy changed. What happened? We switched from steam to electricity. Electricity came along, and transportation, the car came along. So you could individualize. From train, the automobile came, and it gave a lot of freedom. And we also moved to telephones. Now, Industry 3.0 is defined as a time when renewable energy started coming, atomic energy started coming. That was huge at that time. We could power entire cities with that. And then the internet started coming, new form of communication, and then the aircraft, the aeroplane came. So it connected geographically diverse parts of the world. So now we are in Industry 4.0. This came out of the mouth of a gentleman called Charles Schwab, and he runs the World Economic Forum. So when we hear these things like WEF, please don't think God created it. It's all man-made. Charles Schwab and his team runs it, and they meet in Davos and Switzerland and so on. And they decided, now we are in 4.0. And he put out this massively, wonderfully, beautifully explanatory document that says why we are in this and what's the big change. So we all know there are huge changes. Now, internet has overtaken anything. We are in COVID crisis, but I'm talking to 50, 60 people in very far location, and all of you are sitting at different parts, though you are under the same umbrella of Ayyappa College. This has become possible. There is Internet of Things. So data about, which is huge, big data. Data has become the new oil in one sense, right? We are powered by data. Decisions are being made by data. Artificial intelligence has made. Right? Transportation is no longer necessary. We can communicate to each other as if we are live with each other, and all the other transportation means are there. And energy, we are switching big way into solar and the other kinds, the new kinds of energies are coming. So it's in this kind of world, we are asking, what are the opportunities? What are the opportunities of having undergone higher education? In particular, I can be more intimate about engineering students, but here I am going to ask you, as women and students of arts and science, what are the opportunities? The world has changed. The jobs our parents used to do, now a machine and an artificial intelligent device can do very quickly. Teachers, all of us included, are waiting and trying to see where is there a replacement coming. Will we be replaced? Can artificial intelligence chug along? Because we saw toys were being replaced, right? In nursery schools, the iPad has come. The iPad has replaced a lot of things. Byju's, the great Malayali company, which has tremendous valuation, though I don't agree in principle to any of the things that they're doing, but they are bringing digital education to all the ages. A white hat junior and things like that learn what LKG student, or even the mother is pregnant, already start learning C++ language. All kinds of nonsense are coming. But that's the world that we are facing. Now, in such a world, what are we to do with our education? That's the question. What are the opportunities? That was there in the topic that was given, right? Where are the opportunities? So how can you define an opportunity when you see it? Only you can decide. That's the main takeaway that I want you to have. Okay, it's individual. It's each of the 63 of you who is looking at me or not looking at me, at least hearing me. Each of you, your opportunity is not the same as the opportunity of the person sitting next to you in this window, not the opportunity of your neighbor, which Kerala and Tamil Nadu are very famous for. This fellow in the street went there, so everybody else for the next 2-3 generations will do the same thing because there is an opportunity there. But we really don't have the luxury of having jobs like that anymore. Now, in 1995, when these are all interesting because in 1995, Jeremy Rifkin wrote a book called End of Work because he saw how internet was becoming very popular and he thought, okay, now there won't be much work left. But we all know how many technoparks came up and how India boomed when the internet and software engineering came in. So somebody had predicted end of work, it ended up creating more work. Now we are reading books called A World Without Work. So again, we don't know how these predictions will pan out. But the world without work, at least they learned from 20 years ago not to predict things like the end of work, nobody will have to work anymore. Now they are much more nuanced about what jobs they say will disappear. So they are saying entire jobs won't disappear, but tasks will go away. And tasks we know, as within your college, now we are all sending so many emails to each other that has actually removed so many of those jobs which used to be carrying file from this room to that room. Correct? That's gone. There is no need. Kerala government still has them, but they are just sitting around, not doing anything. Because it's so simple to transfer some things. So what tasks in a job that you are looking for, including faculty position, teacher position, what are the tasks that a machine can very easily do? And therefore, you have more time to do something which only a human being can do. And how good are you in that? This is the opportunity. This is the skill that you should develop. If you are going to say, I can write an article of these many words and about this particular topic, your job is already under tremendous threat because most of the articles we see today are written by machines. They are even writing journal papers that are getting approved because it's very much easier for them to troll the entire internet and get good information, put it together. We have enough chat bots now which are being suspected as real human beings. People are talking to them. In China, people are falling in love with toys. Microsoft's big business there is artificial intelligent companion. So you're walking around with this business. She has a lovely voice and a woman for a man and a man for a woman. And then you fall in love with that companion because that companion never bothers you with any demands. It's always listening to you. You can tell them whatever secrets you want. It'll always be compassionate with you. But you are giving so much of your data, right? Whenever we are speaking, now I am aware that I am talking to you and my iPhone is sitting right next to me. It's listening to everything that I'm saying. It's not like a major privacy breach or something, but conversations are getting recorded for keywords. They're not looking at our secrets or something. And these keywords will be reflected in the next advertisement that we see. I'm pretty sure many of you will end up getting Industrial 4.0, that kind of ads showing up very soon, at least 2 articles and things like that, because you listen to this. So we are being monitored. And that's the power of data, which will help us. So in such a world where Japanese, for example, that society is aging very fast. So they need more nurses. And there are a lot of coaching institutions starting in Kerala now to teach Japanese, thinking that they are looking for Malayali nurses. But that culture is very particular that they would like to have Japanese people. They have robots now which will carry people from bed to the toilet and then bring them back to the bed. Very nice, fluffy robots that you can check. So it's a culture that has already become very comfortable with robots. We are still thinking Endiran will kill people and these are and Android Kunyapan will come. He's a nice companion, but in the end maybe he'll become violent and so on. So popular culture is telling us many things. But we are familiar with the kind of job loss that's happening, right? Tasks that are disappearing. So I want to give you a statistics that I want you to think about. Okay, and this I do an exercise with every student population that I meet. And I'm talking in terms of Kerala, but I assume many of you are Malayalis, so you understand. I think it could transfer the same way in Tamil Nadu as well. We have seen it all over India, the statistics. Okay, if there are 100 vacancies, or let's say there are 1,000 vacancies for a post, how many applications roughly come in India? If it's a government post or a public sector unit post, if there are 1,000 vacancies, there are no 1,000 vacancies anymore anywhere, but if there are 1,000 vacancies, we know how many people apply for JEE, how many people write NEET, and how many people get through, right? It's that same statistics that transfers. Every time a job is announced. We had put up an ad last Wednesday at Trinity College asking for faculty positions in a few branches. Our email collapsed. Now we have expanded our Gmail inbox because of the number of resumes that came in. Instantly, within 2 days, 3 days. So roughly, do you know, do 1 lakh people apply? 10 lakh people apply if there are 1,000 opportunities? Now, obviously, many of you are mathematics students. I don't need to tell you that the chance of success we are talking about is 1% or less, right? When you are writing something like this. When you write a competitive exam in India, with the higher education that we have, it's 1% or less. World over, the probability of a business succeeding is 5%, which is already 5 times greater than the 1% chance you have of getting a job. So which is riskier? When people come and tell you that business is risky, but writing a test after test after test after test is not risky, which statistics are they basing this on? And what is the other big difference that will happen? You are educated, you get your BA, MA, BSc, MSc in a particular subject. Then you keep on writing tests for something which has nothing to do with what you study. Within 2 years, all of this is gone. And you are still writing for that 1% chance, running after people. Instead, you do something with what you are educated in. In the side, keep writing. I don't mind, keep writing. There is a lot of maybe pension and security, and maybe your parents are insisting on it. In Kerala, we have this interesting situation that entrepreneurs don't get married. Entrepreneur, if he goes, people are not happy to marry their daughters to an entrepreneur. They're very happy to marry her to the person who gets his salary from the entrepreneur. At least he has a salary, a monthly salary. This fellow is running business. Everything is business. No, Infosys is a business. Microsoft is a business. If you get a salary from there, supposedly you become a higher grade person. Right? So think of this risk that I'm talking about. Unless we all know this, and your teachers must be telling you this 101 times every day, that unless you practice, you'll lose it. Any subject. Don't try for the last 2 weeks of studying for exam. That's the other bad culture we have created. You study 2 weeks, you somehow vomit in the exam and you forgot everything. Next semester you come in, you don't remember anything. With that, what are the skills we have? And now we are saying soft skill. If you're fluent in English, you will get a job. You won't get a job. Nobody wants somebody who is fluent in English but knows nothing. So we want you to have the educational skill, but then remember these things. And that will come only if you are in the field, applying in the field. We have made a few fundamental errors in education, which I think the English department is also here. In school, when I learned Shakespeare, I was never told that you are being taught this so that you can forever appreciate Shakespeare later in life when you have more leisure, or you're reading Wordsworth, or you're reading O.N.V. Kurup, so that you can appreciate their poems for the rest of your life. We are training you for that. Nobody said that. They all said this will come in the exam, by heart, this thing, 2 marks, 5 marks, and I'm finished at the end of it. Nobody taught us mathematics to tell us this will come handy in your life, to make calculations, to be better planners, to put down things in concrete quantitative analysis. That's why we learn physics also, to transfer the world into a mathematical model and put it back up. Nobody tells us this. We are only worried about exam. And if so, the rest of your life will also be exam every day, because you go to work for somebody, that somebody has given you a task, and then he or she will be happy if you completed the task. Based on that, you get a salary. Do you really want to live like this? in a world that has given us enough choice. And we are like the 1% Indians who actually got higher education. We are going to opt for a life of some kind of glorified examination every day where tension, you wake up at 5 o'clock in the morning cursing that you have to go for this job, and you do this job till 5 o'clock with all this worry nonsense, and then you get a salary and you believe that what you do with that salary is your life. This is work. That is life. That's the work that has ended. Because any kind of drudgery, manual, menial and repetitive tasks are gone. Machines will do it much better than it, much faster than it. What do human beings do? We can be creative. We can relate to other human beings. We can associate with people. People help people and go. Those faculty will always have a job. The faculty who are able to create that spark in students will always come flocking to you. No? They really want you to put in them that motivation, the love for that subject and so on. They will keep their job. No kind of machine will replace that kind of heart-to-heart connection or brain-to-brain connection. But rest is gone. If your job is only writing a derivation on board and students copying it, machine will do it 1,000 times. By the time your hand, you can't match that manual labor. So those things will go. So think of what human element in you will keep you alive every day. Can you have a calling? Right? This is my greatest blessing in life, because I wake up at 4 o'clock in the morning completely energized, because I want to go meet new students. I want to work on these new problems. The clients have presented us with new things. I want to meet the teachers, learn from them. So I love my job. I don't even look at it as a job. So can you find something which will give you this kind of self-motivation trigger, and also obviously make it as a livelihood? Otherwise, we are going to be extremely lower quality life despite the highest education that we have received. People, I think many of you might have heard that Madura Travel, Dhanabalan's great quote. Look at those backgrounds, those people who came from the poorest of the poor backgrounds. They have come and they got motivated and they stick around. They never got a webinar on why to start up and how to have an entrepreneurship mindset or so on. They did it because they had to do it. There was no other choice. They couldn't go sit in a full suit and wait for interview after interview after interview. No, they had to make a livelihood. And then they had to support other people, which means they had to give jobs. And then make sure that all those families were dependent on them. So therefore, I will be working doubly hard because there are other people involved. All the other kind of motivation, please believe me, by the time you reach my age, 40, 42, they're all gone. You don't want to drive that flashy car, own this house, which is 3,000 square feet and so on. They'll all go away. And then you'll be worried about who will clean all these 3,000 square feet every day, who is going to broom and sweep and so on. That kind of job provision is not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about, can you find, at your age, you should be able to find 18 to 21. Please think about it. When were you happiest in your life? And if you think it is when I am sitting down and watching TV, then there is something seriously wrong with the subject that you took for higher education. If your happiness is our vacation, then we are in the wrong business. Then you should go find whatever is that subject that really triggers you, where nobody wants to take a vacation because you're energized at work. So that's where the opportunity lies, because you can, sitting in Nagarkoil, sitting in Thiruvananthapuram, today you can find high quality products to be made, services to be rendered anywhere in the world. So people will come and find you if you can deliver that kind of quality, and that quality we cannot fake. We can fake a lot of things. We can fake a PowerPoint, we can fake the interview, we can fake a presentation, but ultimate delivery of quality, you cannot fool everybody every time. They'll catch on. They'll understand that this is being done a shoddy job, outsourced job, and so on. So think very, very deeply. It's not easy. But you are in an age where you have the time to think, what is it that motivates me, that will allow me to deliver in quality? And if you can't find it, Please be very happy that you are born as a human being, because we have this thing called growth mind. We can grow. We can acquire skills. We didn't come out of our mother's womb getting ready to walk and going to college or anything. No, we did that. We walked on two legs. We started learning 2-3 languages now, Nobody gifted this to us. It was a struggle, but at that time we loved it. We enjoyed finding new words. So we changed, as in we have a growth mindset. Maybe you don't have voice like S.P. Balasubramanian. That's fine. Those are gifted talents once in a while. But other things we can develop. So you have to find out things that can be developed and then start working on developing them in the area that you like. There is no compulsion. Please do not believe anybody who says there are 1 million jobs in this, there will be thousands of jobs in that. No, that will all disappear. And those are not meant for you. You have to find what is it that will trigger you, interest you, and help you keep on growing. Keep on growing. Otherwise, what's the point, right? It's the person who has spent most time, and this is probably the only takeaway that I need to give specifically in terms of entrepreneurship, because entrepreneurship is a matter of time. Okay, when you start a company, you start with a lot of hope that you'll get big business and you will grow, and now everybody will come flocking to you, and you will realize that won't happen overnight. It takes 2 years, it takes 3 years to build a reputation, build a quality, build a client circle, and so on. It takes time. But you have to stick to the task. I am actually tired of looking at resumes now where nobody has done any job more than 2 years. What does that show me? That they are not happy wherever they go. They are just looking for another 500 rupees, 2,500 rupees somewhere else, they'll go there. How will you continue to live like this? What is the point of being gifted with this human life, with so much of talent and skill, and then all these opportunities so far in higher education? If you are just going to jump from here to here, here to there, totally dissatisfied with your life, periodically. Every time you jump into a job, you think, this will make me very happy. And then at the end of 1 year, there is office politics, this, that, all the unnecessary things, and you go away. So can you find that one thing which you want to do, and you are doing it so well that you are attracting other people to come and work with you? That's the team building spirit. And all this will take time. So have patience. Have patience. And learn to live minimally initially, without all the extravagant spending and things like. Things take time. Look at any big company. We will hear in the news about people who made it big when they are 25, 24, 18, 10-year-olds with this and that and so on. They are in the news because they are rarest of the rare exceptions. That's not how businesses are made. That's not how entrepreneurship works. Nobody will talk about Arun Surendran, who established his company 10 years ago, and now, okay, they have broken even and he is able to support all the employees, and very nice. There's value in this. But that's how 99.99% of the companies are. So when you start, you recognize that this is going to take time, it will be slow, but I love it, I enjoy it, and therefore, I'm not afraid to sit here. What's the risk in this? Please tell me, is this riskier, or is it risky to go end up in an office where you simply don't want to wake up in the morning and go every day because you hate everybody else and you hate what has been given to you to do? Isn't that the biggest risk in life? If given what you have achieved so far, and I'm pretty sure you're all with good brains, good skills, great set of faculty who are, going out of their way to provide you more and more opportunity to learn, to listen, to understand the variety. With that opportunity, how? I'm a completely realistic person, so I understand that you can't go home now and say, okay, I'm trying to go self-employed or startup because I listened to this guy who came and said something for 1 hour. Obviously, that won't work at home. But I'm just going to put a spark to give you an avenue to think about, so that maybe even if you get into a job, at the end of 2-3 years, you will think, okay, now I can switch, let me switch. I hope I find a team and they'll be able to support you when it comes. So that's basically the takeaway. And I would also want to mention very briefly about having a self-employment mindset right from the beginning, which is why I said we miss all those women. The big statistics, almost 50% of you just disappear. They're not there in the workforce. They have to come back. And for that, you have to commit that you will only do the highest quality work. Not that if somebody gives you a homework, you will come up with copying it from somebody else. You looked at all the previous year's question papers and that's how you will succeed in this year's question paper. All that is low quality stuff. With low quality, you will never be able to project yourself individually. And unless you project yourself individually, you won't be able to attract people to work with you, to do business with you, and so on. So this is more of a lesson in life. And this is about being independent. This is true independence. Independence is not if somebody else is paying you a salary. You're not independent, as many have learned in the COVID crisis. Companies can fail very quickly and they can lay off people. You'll remain indispensable. So focus on your studies very, very well, but at the same time, look at them as a way of life. You are doing this because eventually you will be using it every day. We are never taught application, no? We are only taught answers to questions. Uttara, if you read the Sushruta Samhita or Charaka Samhita and those books like that, there the test for ancient Ayurvedic doctors were Prashna and Prashnartha, which is what is the meaning of the question, that's all. The student should know what is the meaning of the question, not there is some ready-made answer given by ACC guide or A to C guide. Prashna, Prashnartha, because you will always end up facing new problems. It's not an idealized world. Uttara actually means appendix, which is the solved example kind of things which are given at the end of the book. Unfortunately, after thousands of years, we only teach Uttara, the standard solved examples. And then you think you know mathematics, you know history, you know this and that and so on. Because you know a few answers by heart. And then you get out into the world and you are shocked. But what happens in the real world? Because every problem is new, right? But please commit. Because I am focused on women because women have much bigger power, not just to change the society around them, but also the next generation. Because what you do at home really affects the next generation. Majority of your teachers. So please ensure that you are able to create jobs for people who were less fortunate than us, who couldn't come into a higher education level. We are going to think of providing them jobs, not walking around with our certificate begging for a job for a few thousand rupees. Things collapse. I'll end with a quote from Nassim Nicholas Taleb, one of my favorite authors, starting with the book Black Swan. And then I'll be open to questions, all kinds of questions you can ask me. Nassim Taleb said there are 3 deadly addictions for human beings. 3 deadly. Okay, all other kinds of addictions we can probably go get a treatment. There will be a de-addiction center or whatever, some place to do prayer and whatnot you can do to save people. But 3 deadly addictions. One is heroin, obviously, big major, just kill you if you get addicted to that. Heroin. The second is something all of us as Malayalis and South Tamil Nadu people know, which would be very strange when I say it. The second deadly addiction is carbohydrates. Eventually we'll be dead because of how much we love rice. And, without carbs, without eating rice at least once a day, we don't feel very nice. Carbs are very addictive, very addictive. So that too, it adds to our weight and things like that. And the third deadly addiction is this wonderful thing called monthly salary. Once you are hooked to it, you will go to the end of the world and do unnecessary things just so that this monthly something comes to your account. So please make sure you are not addicted to it, because we will keep on compromising after compromising. But be bold, stand on what your education has given you. Do not have that addiction. Please become comfortable with unsteady cash flow. This is my favorite interview question to all high quality students who come to our college with the college companies we interviewed. I asked them this very simple question. Will you be happy if I pay you 6 lakhs per year? I'll pay you 6 lakhs per year. But I will only be able to give it to you in writing in bond paper that you will be given 6 lakhs in 1 year as salary. Thank you. I might give it to you on the 31st of December. Till then, nothing will come to your account, but then 6 lakhs will be there before 1 year end. Otherwise, you can take me to court. Or will you be happy to get 20,000 per month? Everybody is happy to get 20,000 per month, which is just 2.4 lakhs per year. This is a big savings for any business, no? So please realize your worth. Because if I get an employee for 2.4 lakhs, I am probably bidding for a contract of 6 lakhs. The rest is what the entrepreneur keeps. This is the big difference, because somebody else got addicted, got hooked to this monthly, whatever I can get, I'll be happy. I have a job to come to and sit here and deliver something that somebody else tells me to do. So please think along these lines. I hope at least 10-15% of you become entrepreneurs, very successful, able to employ hundreds of people. At least 50% of you are able to employ a handful of people, and the rest of you have a very successful life as a self-employed freelancer or something like that. And very few of you, maybe 5% of you, actually go to a job which you don't like. And then you will be able to someday reflect and say, yeah, that guy was right when he came and said, yeah, this is what we should have looked for. So please do focus and make sure that you get the best out of the education and opportunities that you have. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. From this interesting talks, students, we have got the information that the probability of getting a job is very less. But if we have to face the risk and opportunities, surely we achieve the goal, isn't it, sir?
Yes.
Also, the women, have more opportunities in various fields. So it will be a very suitable topic for us, sir. So really, it was an informative and innovative session, sir. Hope that our students will surely benefit with this interesting talk. Dear participants, please share your doubts, questions with our speaker, or write your comments on the chat box. Please mute your phone while asking questions. Any questions? In English or in Malayalam, in Tamil, you can chat with the sir.
Sir, thank you for this informative section, sir.
Welcome.
Can you please say me what motivates you to fix your goals, sir?
Well, through different times in my life, my goals were again what other people told me should be my goals, right? So when I was in school, they all told me you have to be topper. Becoming topper is the greatest thing in life, and so on. And obviously, my parents were also in the same line. That's how entire society was operating. So I was motivated to be the topper. And then come +2, everybody told me IIT is the place to be. Indian Institute of Technology, you should go there. That is the greatest engineering place on the planet. And if you have a brain, you should be there. Then you will be considered intelligent and so on. That was a goal. So I went there. And then I took aerospace engineering, and then in IIT we figured out that United States, USA is the place to be. You should go to America. America is a great goal. So I thought, okay, I will go there. So see, the beauty is, luckily for me, all this was happening when I was getting educated. So there was no pressure on me to make a salary or pay somebody else or earn my livelihood, because after IIT everything became scholarship. So not a single paisa was being paid by my parents, so I could happily go on scholarships and so on. So I could have that risk that was being taken. In fact, I was not answerable at that point to anybody. So once I was there, starting my master's and PhD and so on, that was the time I could actually sit and think of, where am I headed? Is there a goal? Because at that time, everybody's goal was to get a job in USA. So it's like, $60,000, $100,000 salary. That's where I took a turn, because I could see how other people were operating. There were a lot of startup people that I could find. Texas A&M still is a wonderful startup ecology. My own PhD advisor, he had several companies. He was associated with the board of directors of several companies. So that's where I started understanding that engineering professors are at the top of the line when it comes to engineers, because the engineering companies are coming to ask him to clarify doubts. In India, we have the situation where if I didn't get an engineering job, I become an engineering professor. What kind of twisted logic is that? That you teach the next generation because you're not good enough in the previous generation. That should change. It has to be the best of the previous generation, which is how Sweden excels. No, they want PhD postdoc people to teach nursery, because you want the best in the previous generation to come for teaching the next one, not the people who couldn't get a job, then they come to teach. So there I was really thinking, what's the goal? And I realized that this is where you get to sit and think what actually motivates you. So in my case, I figured that I am motivated by people more than materials or calculations or money or so on. So it takes time to figure out what these things are. You go through the disappointments, you go through the happinesses, and then you realize this is not the real happiness. So then people, for me, so I learned to start setting goals in terms of people. So that became a wonderful opportunity for me. So my goal is, let's say this year I'll talk to 1,000 students. I will make, say, 50 new friends. I'll interact with these many CEOs. I'll answer these many questions. Or I'll provide job for 5 people, 15 people, 20 people, and so on. So this really motivates me. So my goal setting I have completely done, and I have recognized that there is a sizable chunk of extremely successful businessmen who operate in this way. They look at projects not in terms of money value. They're always looking at, maybe this needs 10,000 people. Where do we recruit them from? Can we get them from Bangladesh, or should we look at North Korea and things like that? So I have interacted with such businessmen who focus on people. So your name is Shanmati?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Shanmati, so you have to set the goal based on what's your essence.
Sure, sir.
What motivates you internally, please work in that direction. And then we'll be happy. I'm sure maybe if you play some game, or if there is some activity that you really enjoyed, let's say you enjoy watching Tamil television serials. So that really motivates you. Then I'm sure you have already worked out goals like this weekend I'll watch 12 episodes, then you can do 13 episodes, because that's coming because you really enjoy. It's similar to that. You can quantify and keep expanding only if you really enjoy. Okay. I hope that gave you some direction.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah. Any other?
Good evening, sir.
If you have any doubts, you can speak freely to sir
Yes, please.
in any language. So do you know Tamil?
Yeah. I can't answer back, but I'll understand.
Yeah. So students, you can ask in Tamil also, if any question.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening.
I'm Ajidra Ashok, and second I'm a student of CIPA College for Women.
Okay, Ajidra.
Thank you, sir, for the valuable information on the opportunities around us. Sir, we recently came across the new national education policy.
Yes.
What is, in your opinion, especially in the field of industrial development, is it useful for the industries, or according to the new education policy, is it useful?
Yes. See, the education policy was long overdue. If you know, after 1990, we are touching it only in 2020, when the world has completely transformed. So we are a very late country when it comes to change. And few of the things, which I think many of the things I mentioned, which is we somehow separated education from life. Education was something that happens in schools and colleges, which has only to do with the exam and certificate and end of story. And you come out of that totally unprepared for how to live your life. The only life lessons you get is from the hostel and from the corridors and from all the chats you have with your friends. Nothing really comes from the classroom. You are not taught history to learn about the value of culture or anything. No, you are taught history so that you remember all those dates and your tension about it, and then you write the exam. So that dichotomy is what they are trying to solve with the national education policy, because they have no bag day. They are insisting on using your mother tongue as education. Do it when you are till 5th standard, 6th standard. There is one day, I think, when you have to actually go to some industrial place and really do some work with craftsmen and things like that. So you recognize the variety of jobs that are available. Otherwise, you end up being a very bookish person. There are a lot of self-help books. No, what happens with self-help books? We never bothered reading books and absorbing and actually applying the information in school. So when we read books, even now, we will read it and we can only provide advice to other people. We are never taking it and applying it in our life. We'll talk about, motivation. This is how to create a habit. We'll give others a lot of lessons. Which habit did you change? I didn't change anything because it was in a book. and this is about talking to other people. So that, I think the national education policy is trying to fix it, because they want more of real world application of things we are learning. And in that sense, we need to learn very little. Because there are a lot of people who complain about, oh, why did I learn calculus? Why did I learn trigonometry? Now I have never used it in life. All I use is an Excel sheet and so on. That's a very stupid comment. Because you don't know which student among the 40 sitting in class is going to become the next greatest guy in trigonometry. There are undiscovered theorems there. He might become a mathematician. And saying things like, if you want only a job, then teach only that task. That is really stupid, because otherwise, if it's a football coaching center, then only thing that people should be doing is simply kicking at goals, no? Because that is the ultimate aim of football. Why do these people run around the field, jog, keep themselves fit and so on? So you need this wide array of material given to your brain for its growth. From that, whatever fascinates you, automatically triggers you, that's what you go and apply in your life. So application is where NEP is stressing. I think that will make a lot of difference, not to separate your life from your education.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Students, you can ask in Malayalam or Tamil, any language, any doubt.
I hope they're all there, not just logged in, camera off and go.
Yes, sir. They all attend sincerely, but they won't ask question. That is the problem.
So, only if you are trying to apply in life, you will have 100 questions.
Yes, sir.
Tomorrow, immediately they should ask, sir, what is available? Are there loans available? I want to start. Where do I go? Who can I approach in Nagargoil? Are there mentors available locally? Or at least say, this is a business idea I have. What do you think about the idea?
So in Kerala, Kerala Startup Mission is there, but we don't know about Tamil Nadu. Is there any startup mission in Tamil Nadu also?
Tamil Nadu has wonderful incubators. The Atal Incubation Center, they have given incubation facility to several colleges, and there's one in Coimbatore called RAISE. Greenwich actually is a subsidiary center of them in Trivandrum. So you can approach incubators, you can approach your industrial council and things like which I think is again operates pretty much how Kerala's industrial council operates. But look for mentors and incubators, and I think Tamil Nadu has far more entrepreneurs than Kerala in terms of the diversity of the field. Everybody runs some kind of trading or business and so on. No? So you will find mentors. Just if you Google.
Is there any mentor in Nagargovil?
There should be. I'll surely find out and let you know. Yes, the engineering colleges will have an innovation development center. Those who have these people, and I think Nagargoil business incubators must definitely be there. It's a big enough place. Even otherwise, there are Startup India website. If you go, you will find all kinds of information to help you start up. Udyog Aadhaar ID and things like that, which you need. But essence is think along the lines that I said. What is it that you need? Not that I want to start up. Why I want to start up? Will I sustain the energy? And once you go meet a mentor, the mentor should understand that there is a lot of fire in you to really do this. So then it becomes easy for them to get.
Actually, IIC is now, MHRD is insisting us to implement the NISP policy at institute level. Okay. So we have to formulate a NISP, a startup policy for our institute. So right now we don't have much idea about the policy making. So we need a NISP committee at institute level, and we need members from incubation center, from startups, then innovation and entrepreneurship ecosystem.
Yes.
Like that, we have to formulate a committee.
Yes, so, and I will tell you, none of this is going to succeed unless one of your faculty members actually starts up. Because otherwise, it will just become a committee and signing this thing, that thing, and telling these girls, please start up. But nobody will have that real flavor will come if 3 of you together or 5 of you together decide to form a very small entity. But then you will go find out all these things. in a realistic fashion. Otherwise, we'll only be guiding them to go here, look there, and so on. It may not come. And we will obviously set all targets. 5 girls will be entrepreneurs and things like that. But that will never convey a realistic impact. So I think the college management would be open to running a center which is operated independently as a small business unit by faculty members.
So for first we have to start a startup, then
Yes.
pre-incubation center, isn't it?
If you start an incubation center, then you can attract startups from outside. There is
So
nothing
what is the difference between a pre-incubation center and a startup?
No, pre-incubation center is what provides a lot of advice in the terms of what are the things that registrations you need, what are the things you need to be careful, whether your idea is viable at all. You know, you don't want to invest something and then invest your time and money in something that won't work. So pre-incubation center is what provides you all this information, gets you ready to register as a startup and then get into an incubator. So the rest of the journey begins. This is where we look at the people who have come to startup, whether they have the qualities or do they need a separate set of skills where they can go and acquire them and so on. So that much part you can do. Because I think individual faculty can take up research in one particular direction, let's say finance planning or human resource planning, the compliance and regulatory planning, and then obviously the other interaction where if the idea needs help from engineers, what are the vendors that you can bring in, IT support if you need, things like that. So those things all happen in the pre-incubation stage.
So at institute level, what can be done next? Now we are arranging so many programs and we are motivating. But
the question always is, are you motivated yourself to do something startup?
So far we are only concentrating on academics. Now all of a sudden it is very difficult. We are finding it very difficult to think about the industry and startups. It is not accessible for us.
I know. This is a new experience, but there are campuses that shifted 10, 12 years ago, which had the same problem because the faculty were doing very good research. They were publishing in journals, this and that, but nobody thought of commercially using those journal findings or where it would become useful. Okay, for example, you must have done something fundamental in a particular field. But is there a commercial viability? Is there a government institution or a private institution which will be interested in that finding, which will help them improve? That kind of thinking had never come. So tomorrow, KCC sir will have a lot of experience of working with such colleges, which had they had never ventured into something like this. And then they took a very small step using 2 or 3 faculty members and a few students who were interested in something. And then the ecosystem started building because the next generation that comes in starts seeing this, that this has a possibility and start doing this. So please don't have all these misunderstandings about what does business imply. It is always a transaction or you need to find people who will come and work for you. It is a big hassle, bank loan, this, that, grant winning and so on. So don't think of it, overthink it, and don't have a particular pattern or kind of business that you want to start. Look at it as entrepreneurship is very different. It's like, you are setting up an enterprise, forming a team that will create something valuable. Valuable in the sense somebody needs it. It can be a pure social entrepreneurship. Find out a village near Nagarkoil where you are going to form a small company which will provide maybe solar power. So your contribution in this is you are able to write a proposal to a corporate in Nagarkoil saying this village needs this and these many people will be benefited. So if from their corporate social responsibility budget, if they can spare these many lakhs, you will be able to supervise the implementation. That's enough. So social entrepreneurship actually brings people more because they don't want to think like we are greedy people and looking at this and that. So these things, even the institution is happy to run because it's benefiting the society, it is spreading a good word about the institution and so on. So where can we apply? Or for example, you can think of a bit more structured educational help, going and talking about career opportunities in your particular field. for the latest findings in something. Start a YouTube channel which explains things in Tamil or in Malayalam to a particular group of students and so on. So think in terms of problems that are faced by maybe street vendors near your college, about cleaning things or COVID-related activities or something like that. We can start. And what are our expertise? Okay, we are highly educated, so we are able to logically put together things which not many people are able to do. And writing this proposal, all this mudra loan, this that are there, but they all need a project report. And these poor folks can't, who really want that loan. But if we can have a center for assistance in providing grants. So that's all we do. We just connect them to the bank, but we provide all the documentation for them. What a lovely service that would be. So please charge them very little if you want to, just for running the electricity and water charges of a small room where you're operating out of. That's enough. But that again is an enterprise which will teach you a lot about difficulty of working with clients, working with people, and so on. You'll get us educated. Or let's say tree planting, saplings, gardening, Ayurveda nursery, providing fresh ingredients to something, organic vegetables. If there's an irrigation problem, how can we interfere and solve? Because what you have in any college is highly enthusiastic 18 to 21-year-olds. And they are not looking at this point for a salary or things like that. They just want to help other people and they're energized. So if there is a channel through which we can do it, NSS and all is there, but here, because a bit of money is involved, you need to talk to the banks and other things. That's where entrepreneurship will come, providing a small service.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Yeah.
You have motivated us also, faculty.
Yeah, that's the whole point.
Yes, sir. Surely we will take it as a challenge.
Yes, please do.
That is a very wonderful interactive session and explains all with a very good smiling face.
Thank you.
From the starting, we have seen like that. Any questions from the participant side?
Always be smiling, okay? Try to get into a profession or calling which will keep you smiling. Otherwise, there's no point.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you. Please do find me in LinkedIn. I'm there in LinkedIn, Dr. Arun Surendran. You can find me. That's the social media I use. And please feel free to drop me questions which you don't want to ask in front of your teachers. I'll answer them.
Okay.
Shanmadi?
Shall we conclude?
Yes.
Okay.
I am very happy to hear that name again because that's the real name of actress Kasturi.
Yeah.
And I was batchmate of her brother Suman in IIT Bombay. We lived in rooms next to each other. So not many people know it's Shanmadi, but happy to see another Shanmadi.
Thank you, sir.
Okay. Gratitude is not only the greatest of virtues, but the parent of all others. Now I call upon our Sanmadi of second year botany student to propose vote of thanks.
I deem it a great honor and privilege to propose the vote of thanks on this memorable occasion. First and foremost, I thank our special guest, Dr. Arun Surendran sir, Strategic Director and Principal, Trinity College of Engineering, Trivandrum, who despite his busy schedule has found time to grace this occasion. Thank you, sir.
Welcome.
Then my heartfelt thanks to our principal, Dr. K.V. Jayashree ma'am, who encourages at all ways. I owe my special gratitude to Dr. Smitha Nair ma'am, President of IIC, who have worked hard to ensure that this occasion becomes a memorable success. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Thank Dr. Uma Devi ma'am, convener of IIC, who gives her full support for this moment. Thank you, ma'am. I thank all the members of IIC for their support. Last but not least, I thank all the participants for their presence and support. Once again, I thank you one and all.
Yes, Shanmadi and botany students, the Ayurveda garden idea I said, please take it up seriously because enough people in Trivandrum do need high quality Ayurvedic proper herbs. But if you can find a farmland nearby, you can just supervise about what
Sure, sir.
and Uma Devi madam, please to get in touch for anything you need with IIC. Dr. Smitha has my number and everything.
Yes, sir. Sure.
Thank you so much for.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Once again, I thank all the participants for their passion, listening, and kind cooperation throughout this webinar. And tomorrow, with this same time, the last day
Using
of
the same link.
yeah, we can
Using
meet
the same
again, using the same link. Thank you.
I am also thankful to Dr. Shobha and Dr. Prasanna Kumari ma'am. Thank you very much for conducting today's webinar successfully. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Now we can stop streaming. Now we can stop streaming.
Stop.